I said, Gun, this isn't the day we're gonna die. I'm calling the Coast Guard.
Vessel Silky, Sector St. Pete on Channel 16, over.
It's heart-wrenching. All of the situations were against us and him and everybody.
So we had relocated the entire air station to West Palm Beach because of the storm surge in the track of the hurricane.
We called the air station, said, hey, we need you guys.
It's just a conference room at a hotel. You know, we've got tables set up. It's a makeshift operations center. And that call came in, said there was a man and a dog on a sailing vessel, disabled, taking on water, and preparing to abandon ship.
Our first directive to him is stay on the boat as long as you possibly can.
And then we lost communication with him.
White shirt, tan shorts. He was wearing an orange life vest, and then
I had just made aircraft commander. This was one of my first flights as the aircraft commander. So it was a bit unnerving. We have comms with sector usually. You know, every 15 minutes we check in and say we're okay. And as we're getting out to respond, we're having comms problems in the aircraft. Their comms centers were being knocked out by the hurricane. So we really were out there by ourselves trying to get this done. So we were flying out and we established a search pattern, and we had just started the first leg of this search when the swimmer said, I think I saw something in the water off the left side.
I didn't have a lot of hope for finding him at that point because there was no visibility, and I looked up and I saw him through the left window.
It was actually pretty miraculous that we ever saw them.
It was the first time we've had to push the aircraft as hard as it could go in those kinds of winds. So, you know, pretty violent shaking. Yeah, it was just very challenging.
Pilots were working really hard just to keep the helicopter steady and stable for me. I was trying to drop him just forward of the boat, so the way the seas looked, it looked like they were going to push him towards the boat, but the current was actually pulling him away from the boat. Made my swimmer work a little bit harder, but that's all right, that's what he does.
The waves are actually pretty violent and big. You can see in the video, I'm coming up to it and it's flowing away and flowing back and forth. And then, so the dog was a little hesitant at first. He was like, am I supposed to do this? And he was like, all right. He just jumped in. Swam right to me, jumped on me. I grabbed a hold of his life vest and I was just holding him. So then Earl gets in the water at that point. It was a little hectic for a second, and then I start swimming away and I turn around and the basket shows up. My flight mechanic put it right there, so I didn't really have to worry too much more. Put him in there.
My swimmer did an amazing job. He worked fast. It was definitely a challenge to keep up with him. We were in and out of there. I think total time took about 7 minutes.
I think Earl got pretty emotional right there. Realized what was going on. His house is now going to be sunk into the bottom of the ocean, and he's just probably thinking about what's going to happen next. But he was super grateful at that moment. He gave me a handshake, and he was just happy that him and his dog were alive.
So saved both of them, and then on their way in to Fort Myers, they hear another distress call.
So we have to fly back, call the fire department, and get them to pick up Earl and his dog at an airport, and then we go on to the next rescue.
There was another sailboat that had broken loose of their moorings and had been pushed up against a railroad bridge. You can hear the boat being racked up against this bridge and the panic in this guy's voice as he's yelling over Channel 16 that we need help.
It was either you come get us or we're gonna die. And that's what they were communicating.
It was starting to destroy the boat, and the man and wife had jumped from the boat onto the railroad bridge.
The bridge was broken on both ends, so there was no way to get off the bridge.
And whether they were injured or in shock, neither one could move at that point. So for this second part of the mission, we sent Ben down. We sent Teddy down also, hoisted him down, and they both physically carried these survivors across this broken railroad bridge to a place where we could safely hoist them into the aircraft.
We saw that there were a bunch of first responders about 300 meters away on a causeway. It's like a road, kind of like a spit of land with a road on it. And we thought, all right, we can just pick them up and just slide over there and then drop them off.
I sent a drop radio down to the sheriff that was on the side of the road, and we had him call for fire and EMS to block off the road and to be able to receive the survivors. We landed the helicopter right in the middle of the road, and we were able to transport our survivors to a higher level of care.
2 cases in extremely challenging conditions, and our crew did a great job.
This is an incredible mission that we get to do. Everybody wants this mission. You know, whether or not people say they want to fly into a hurricane, this is what the Coast Guard is good at. So it's incredible to get the opportunity to do stuff like this and help people.
And dogs.
And dogs.